can have Terence to introduce.
Okay, thank you, Bante.
All right.
Q2 and good evening, everyone. Welcome to MSBS Weekly Guided Meditation by Phra Goh. Today is 26th of January 2021. We are very fortunate to have with us Bante Adhibalo, known as Phra Goh. He was born on July 14, 1985 and had his Bhikkhu ordination in 2008 at Santi Monastery, Johor. Bante is currently the Vice President of Wat Palelai Buddhist Temple, Singapore. Bante will be leading the homage to the Buddha and taking off the 5 precepts for Buddhists. Now let us compose our minds, put our palms together and welcome Bante. Over to you, Bante.
Okay, thank you, Terence, for the introduction. So now we shall start with the opening chant, the homage. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Three refuges. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. And the 5 precepts. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu miccācara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Suramiraya majjapamadatthana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so good evening, everyone, and we're going to start on this Maha Satipatthana Sutta. So this is like the how many lesson? 3rd or 4th lesson. Yeah, so we've covered mindfulness of the body and mindfulness of feelings. So today we shall start with mindfulness of states of mind. So that's the 3rd foundation of mindfulness. Total is 4. All right, so today again we are going to just read through and then I'll slowly explain. So after previous one. Okay. And how does a monk remain focused on the mind in and of itself? There is the case where a monk, when the mind has passion, discerns that the mind has passion. When the mind is without passion, he discerns the mind is without passion. So this one is greed, emotion of greed or states of greed. So this is the first 2, either you have greed or without greed. And secondly, a mind with aversion and a mind without aversion. And followed by a mind with delusion, without delusion, and then restricted, scattered, enlarged, not enlarged, surpassed, unsurpassed, concentrated, not concentrated, released, not released. Okay, so there's so many states of mind. So this is actually a very good general classification of the different cognitive functions, different cognitive processes we have. So I'm going to try to explain. So the first three is got to do with the intention or the state of mind, the emotion, right? So if a person has, let's say, greed, passion, for example, and then we look at the next few, restricted, scattered. Restricted means a small area. You restrict the attention to a small uh, particular area. This is called restricted mind. So sometimes we can restrict below the nostril. Some tradition is restrict below the abdomen. Some people restrict within the whole body. So this is a restricted mind, right? So in our meditation routine, we do this restricted mind in the second phase when we do the concentration on the breath. So that's restricting the mind. And then we have a scattered mind. So scattered mind is the mind where it's all over the place if you do not deliberately direct them. So this is a scattered mind where the mind is at ease, right? At its natural form without you directing. So this is a scattered mind. So in our third phase of meditation, we are actually doing this. I let your mind be autopilot, let the mind run around freely. So this is a scattered mind, right? So, and the next line is enlarge and not enlarge. So enlarge means, let's say, we do this loving kindness, we radiate the mind in the large direction, in front, behind, all around, all beings, the whole earth, whole universe. So it's enlarged mind. You deliberately extend the mind. So this is an enlarged mind. And then a not enlarged mind. So this is if you do not extend it. Okay, so then we have, okay, so out of these few functions, right, a person with a restricted mind can do it with a greedy mind. Agree? If let's say a person focus on a small area, even like staring at the screen or maybe staring at a bank account, whatever it is, so you can do it in a very greedy state of mind. So this is no, the mental cognitive functions, right? So this is the first. So what we do is if we apply right thought, so how to overcome passion, how to overcome greed. So in our first phase of meditation, we do these impurities of the body. We think of the body, the parts decaying, hair decaying, growing old, and falling off. So this is one way to reduce passion. There are many methods. Yeah. So the traditional method will tell you, generosity. If you are, generous, that means you're not greedy. So this is a way to overcome greed or passion. So there are many ways to overcome passion. And then we have this thing called aversion. So for a mind with aversion, so even a mind restricted or enlarged, right? The mind all over the place can be angry as well. So things like, for example, maybe like what you mentioned, you want to kill somebody, let's say a soldier or a robber or whatever it is, maybe a terrorist. They want to kill somebody, for example. So they need to extend the mind out, look at the battlefield. They need to be aware of the surroundings. So this is looking around with a mind of aversion. So this is one example, yeah. And the next one, the mind without aversion. So to reduce aversion, we normally apply loving kindness. Right? So there are many forms of these sublime states: compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity. So we normally use loving kindness. So in whatever mode your mind is, small or large, if you apply loving kindness, then you should be aware the transition of emotion from an averse mind to a non-averse mind. So later on in today's session, it's good for you to observe the change of emotion or change of this mental state, right? So before you have right thought and after you have right thought, to see what's the difference in the quality of mind, right? So this is the thing you should look out for. And last one, delusion. Okay, so very interesting. Delusion is very hard to describe because delusion is also a kind of craving. In the first sermon of the Buddha's discourse, the Dhamma Cakkappavattana Sutta, the turning of the wheel of Dharma. Right? The Buddha mentioned there are three kinds of cravings: Kama Tanha, Bhava Tanha, and Vibhava Tanha. So Kama Tanha fits with this passion, craving for sensuality. Anything nice you want, right? That means you don't have yet, but you crave for something nice. So this is passion, Kama Tanha. And then delusion is actually Bhava Tanha, craving for eternalism. So when you already experience a emotion or a kind of sensation, and then you want to stay there, then this is called Bhava Tanha. So again, if we refer back to the previous episode on dependent origination, there are three kinds of bhava: sensual bhava, sensual becoming; form becoming; and formless becoming. So sensual becoming is, let's say you enjoy, let's say if a person enjoy life right now, they're materially so fine, they have enough riches, everything very contented, food enough, lodging enough, so nice, enough entertainment, and they want to have this kind of life forever. So this is a bhava tanha in the sensual form. Desire, bhava tanha, desire becoming. And let's say, things like if you're healthy, then people will think like, I want to be healthy forever. I do not want to get sick. Or if let's say you feel youthful, then I do not want to grow old, or I do not want to pass away. So this is a kind of delusion, a kind of bhava tanha, a kind of craving for eternity, right? And similarly, for meditation, we have meditators will have this common problem, this form and formless becoming, form and formless, we call it craving. So what happens is if a person enjoys a certain stillness, certain peace, and then they do not want to think. Some people give instruction, no thinking, meditation, do not think. Then what happens is they cling on that nice experience, nice feeling in the meditation, very quiet, or so peaceful, so nice, no thinking. Then this is a kind of bhava tanha, craving for eternalism. Let's say a person enter maybe first level of concentration, first jhana. Very nice, got this happiness and joy. Very nice, you want to stay there. Then this is a kind of form becoming. Similarly, there's a formless becoming, formless bhavatana. If a person experience, very, very spacious, maybe they feel very, very large, this infinity of space, and they find very nice. They like this sensation. They want to stay in it for as long as possible. When somebody try to wake them up, then they feel so upset. Hey, why you wake me up for meditation? They feel irritated. So there is this craving for this eternalism, right? So this is a mind with delusion. So to overcome this delusion in our routine, I will encourage the participants to keep generating thoughts of impermanence. So I always talk about every in-breath, impermanent, every out-breath, birth and death, in-breath, birth and death, out-breath, birth and death. So there must be thinking all the time. So some people think, hey, this meditation, so much thinking, but this is called skillful thinking. So in the Noble Eightfold Path, it is considered as right thoughts. Because if you do not deliberately think of the right thoughts, what happens is all the wrong thoughts will come in, definitely. If you think that you can stop thinking by not thinking, then that would be equate to a brain dead person, or maybe a dead person. Yeah. So only when you are alive, the brain will definitely be working. Your heart is beating, the electrical, the things are firing all around. There will be thinking. So the only way to direct the mind in a positive manner is to deliberately generate positive thoughts. So this is what we're going to do to counter delusion. Okay. And if you do not do that, you let your mind be idle and quiet. This is a bit of actually laziness, complacency. And there's an old saying, an idle mind is the workshop for the devil. So what happens if the mind is just idle and just sort of enjoying the peace, enjoying the whatever sensation and enjoy? soon, if you leave it alone for probably more than 2 seconds, all the other nonsense thoughts will come in, all the restlessness and worry, the 5 hindrances, this will come later on in the Dhamma aspect. Okay, so things like, even things like greed, if you want to fantasize on something, you have fear, whatever, all kinds of rubbish will come in, even doubt and sleepiness, right? So all this will come in naturally. So this is what we do. And same thing. Then the next function we are going to talk about surpassed and unsurpassed. Right. So basically, this is like your high score. Have you surpassed your previous best state of peace? Every time you meditate, you sort of take note. No, what is the most peaceful state I ever have? And then if you meditate again, oh, this is more peaceful, right? So then you just take note, surpass or you don't surpass. Of course, there are different interpretations. Some people talk about surpass, like being a sotapanna and whatever not, right? So what is more, how do you call it? Observable, I would say, is state of peace. If your mind is more peaceful, more contented, that would be the benchmark. And next one, concentrated, not concentrated, right? So interestingly, in the states of concentration, so we talk about this bhava tanha, no? When the mind is in concentration. So even in the mind is concentrated, a person needs to be mindful of impermanence as well, right? So this is the key factor. And even if the mind is not concentrated, if the mind is scattered, a person should also be mindful of impermanence. So this is the thing here. And then the last one, release or not release. So same thing, release is if a person is liberated, and not released, not liberated, right? So again, if a person is released, that means they are not an arahant. So only an arahant will know. And if a person is not released, right? So it's like most of us, then we should continue to practice this mindfulness. Okay, so we move on to the next slide, which we're going to talk with how all this fits with the objectives, or how should we bring the correct kind of mindset to all these mindfulness of states of mind. Right? So the first paragraph, in this way, he remains focused internally on the mind in and of itself. So again, I mentioned there are two kinds of interpretation. Internally would mean within the body. So you can pay attention, your attention can be within the body. So this is one kind of interpretation. And another interpretation, internally, means your own mind, right? Or externally. So externally, if a person, let's extend the mind outward. So this is external mind. Or if you look at the screen, so the screen, your attention is outside the body already. So this is externally. So this is one interpretation. And another interpretation externally would mean another person's mind. So if let's say a person's EQ is very sharp, then they would call it, some people more sensitive. They go near a person, oh, this person is angry. He's not in a good mood today. So mindfulness of external mind state, yeah? Or both internally and externally on the mind in and of itself. So this is the first statement. So it's basically where you place your attention, either internally or externally. So this is the first paragraph. This is what it means. And the second statement is how to apply when your attention is either internally or externally, right? So you should be watching the phenomenon of origination with regard to the mind, or the phenomenon of passing away with regard to the mind. So this is the thing you should watch out for. You should contemplate or investigate the arising and passing away of the mind, or on the phenomenon of origination and passing away with regard to the mind. So earlier on, we talked about different states of mind. Even if a mind is concentrated, you should be mindful of impermanence. So some people think, oh, my concentration means no thinking, not through, right? You should be mindful of impermanence as well. This is part of the investigation. So the last point, or his mindfulness, that there is a mind. maintain. So let's say if your mindfulness is not sharp enough, cannot detect any arising or passing away, then never mind, just stay there. Be patient. Be patient. This is the whole idea. So be patient until you can see something. Okay, so this is the whole idea. And the last sentence would be, if a person should be unsustained, not clinging to anything in the world. Right, so this is how a person should be mindful of the states of mind. So if the more you stay there, and if you do not watch arising and passing away, and you get more frustrated, that means there is clinging. You feel tension, you feel frustrated, you feel angry or greedy, then something is wrong, right? So if a person should be mindful of impermanence, right, then these states of greed or hatred should reduce, and this should lead to not clinging, right? So shall move on. Yeah? Okay, so mindfulness on the Dhamma, mental qualities, right? So these are the 5 things we are going to cover. So first is the 5 hindrances, right? Second, the 5 aggregates. Third, 6 sense media. Fourth, 7 factors of awakening. And the 5th, 4 noble truths, right? So these are the 5 things that are considered Dhamma. So Ajahn Thanisaro translated it as mental qualities. So works both ways depending on how you look at it. Okay, so we move on to the next one. So 5 hindrances I mentioned earlier. If a person do not generate right thought every moment, do not apply the right effort, then these 5 things will come. So what are these 5 hindrances? So the first one being sensual desire present, right? Present within, among discerns, there is a sensual desire present within, or there being no sensual desire present, it discerns there's no sensual desire present within. Okay, so this is the first. So second is, okay, this is talking about the right effort. Okay, and the second one, if he discerns there's a rising of unarisen sensual desire. So this is the second right effort. And the third right effort is he discerns how there's abandoning of sensual desire. And the fourth is he maintains this state of mind where there is no sensual desire arising. So there are 4 right efforts. Right? So 2 things which is unwholesome, and 2 things dealing with wholesome. So the first 2, right, there is desire present. That means desire is an unwholesome state of mind. So this is the first right effort. And then the second right effort is knowing, okay, there is this arising of this sensual desire. So you acknowledge that this sensual desire. Oh, interestingly, this is formatting the 4 noble truths as well, very alike. Or you can look at it in terms of the 4 right efforts. And the third one, it discerns there is abandoning of sensual desire. So you abandon the sensual desire. So this is the third right effort. And the fourth right effort is there is no sensual desire arising. That means the mind is free from this sensual desire. Then you should maintain this. So this is the 4 right efforts with regard to the first hindrance, desire. Okay, so we move on to the next slide. Oh, sorry, we move on to the previous one. So I think I forgot to add in the other qualities. Okay, so total there are 5. Okay, so the first one being sensual desire, second hindrance is aversion. And the third one is this restlessness and worry, the mind thinking all over the place, scattered mind. And the fourth being doubt. And the 5th hindrance is sloth and torpor. So if a person do not apply these 4 right efforts, then all these 5 hindrances come. Right, so this is the way out of the 5 hindrances. And in the last year's Zoom retreat, we also talk about some immediate kind of ratification or some strategies, short-term strategies. like to overcome this sensual desire, a person can meditate on the Asubha meditations to overcome this sensual desire and to overcome this aversion. And one should do loving kindness, and to overcome this restlessness and worry, and a person should at least have some equanimity, a balanced state of mind. And if a person has this doubt, then basically you should ask questions. You can ask questions and solve the problem. So during the Q&A, you can ask questions to at least clear the doubt. And the last one being, if a person has this sloth and torpor, then we again have a whole range of methods. It could be increasing in the investigation, all the way to walking meditation. So all these are the various methodologies. Okay, so then we move on to the next slide. So the same thing. The first paragraph is got to do with how you place your attention internally or externally. So sometimes a person place your attention outside, right? You can have greed. Sometimes you place your attention within, also can have greed, right? So this is the whole idea, right? So the next one is the solution. You should observe impermanence, arising and passing away of that phenomenon. And but interestingly, in the this sutta on nodding, when the Buddha gave advice to this venerable Maha Moggallana before he got enlightened, when the Buddha saw this venerable Moggallana nodding in meditation, not falling asleep, nodding in meditation, falling asleep, and the Buddha advised venerable Moggallana not to pay attention to the sensation or the feeling of sleepiness. Right. So again, if let's say the emotion of sleepiness is too strong, then it's advisable not to even notice it. Don't try to watch this impermanence or the sleepiness. It's so nice and so pleasant, you tend to be sucked in it and you fall asleep. So the first step is to mature the mind, to bring the mind to maturity, is to avoid. So that's why we have this thing called the precepts, to avoid certain things. So there are certain things to avoid looking or avoid entertaining. All right. So these are the precepts. Maybe certain weaker emotions, then we observe. So that's why in our routine, if you want to go through the full routine, it's advisable. We have this at least the fourth level of concentration, have some equanimity. Then we start to observe all these phenomena. Then easier to observe. Then we won't be easily carried away with these kind of sensual, emotions or the hindrance. And the last one is, if let's say you're unable to observe the arising and passing away, then okay, the hindrance is there. Then you should not cling on that emotion. So again, very interesting. If you try to attempt to stay with that emotion, and if it's a strong tendency, you cling. So the 5 hindrances, like for example, the sleepiness, sloth, and torpor, you have most probably cling, and people will fall asleep. So my advice first is to first avoid paying attention to the emotion of sleepiness. Only when the mind has certain level of certain strength, then you may try to attempt looking at this sleepiness and try to look for the elements or the impermanence, try to investigate this sleepiness. Look out at the area, how big is this sleepiness, is there heat generated, is there movement and whatever not, right? So all these are things you can investigate later on when the mindfulness is sharper. Okay, so these are the 3 things. So now it's 9 o'clock and there are questions. I'll probably answer the questions from the direct message from Nelly. Okay, so the first, I'm not sure if there's comment or question. Bante, sorry, need advice. Is it craving can be our motivation do the meditation? All right, okay, so when we talk about meditation, yes, there is, the first step is called aspiration. Aspiration is good to have some, we call it certain desire, positive kind of desire. But if you do not know how to carry out the plan, you do not know how to apply the right thought, you do not know how to execute, then you keep on sitting there, then, or maybe a person, I want Nibbana, or I want peace. Then this is called excessive craving. This will lead to hindrance in your meditation. This will lead to more dukkha. So if you do not know the right steps to apply, and you just have you bring forward the initial aspiration, and this will create this unnecessary dukkha. Okay, so this is the question. So this is the paradox of craving. Can be easily explained in one of the examples answered by Venerable Ananda. So the one of the ascetic practitioners asked the Buddha actually how to end craving if you have craving in the first place. So Venerable Ananda answered on behalf of the Buddha. He gave an example. If let's say you want to travel to a park, you have a desire, right? You need to travel to a park. But let's say if you already arrived at the park, your destination, do you still have the same desire to travel to set off to the park? No more, because you arrived there, right? So similarly, this is we call the paradox of craving. You need a certain positive kind of desire to start moving, but you need to take the steps. If you do not take the steps and start walking, and you keep on saying, I want to reach that destination, then you're just creating unnecessary stress to yourself. All right, so this is the question of craving. And the second question, how we know what method is the best for us? How long and what time is the best meditation? Okay, which method is the best? You need to try a variety of methods, but the whole idea is if you get more peaceful, then that is the correct method. At any point of time, you feel tension, feel stress, then you should troubleshoot on that spot, right? And how long? I would say every moment. So when we talk about this mindfulness of states of mind, meditation or mental cultivation is not about just sitting, right? Mental cultivation is every moment. It's not that when you sit, then you can produce right thoughts. When you stand up, you cannot produce right thoughts anymore. No. Every moment we're actually creating karma. So the whole idea is to create this wholesome karma as much as possible, 24/7 minus of your sleeping time. Okay, and can you have two objects in one sitting? Example, metta first, then breath. So probably you're new to this session. We have multiple objects of meditation. So the next half of the session, then you can get to experience. Okay, and the question by Wei Li, right, from the Facebook, from Susan actually, is it wrong to use essential oil like citronella to drive away mosquito? I saw some seem to be dead on the floor. Actually, I just want to drive them, no intention to kill. So no problem. You just have the oil. Your intention is not to kill, no problem. It's not like you're deliberately spraying insecticide. Yeah. So from Nelly, thank you. All right. Yeah. So any more questions from the floor or on the Facebook comments? No, everyone good? Okay, so if there's no questions, then we can have like a 5-minute break. Then we can come back later, right? So see you 5 minutes time. So that's 9:05 on my clock. So see you all at 9:10. Okay, so make sure you are seated comfortably and upright. And your bodies are relaxed. Okay, and we're going to go through more or less the same routine, but again, using the theory from today to have a new perspective on what are the different states of mind and how to overcome these hindrances. All right, so first we are going to visualize the hairs, all the hairs on the head and all the hairs of the body. So you're going to take note, right? What is the mind? What is the emotion before and after applying a certain right thought? So this is a state of mind. Supposedly with uh, a certain little amount of aversion or even lots of aversion depending on some people. So we're going to wish all the hairs well and happy from head to toe. All I do is observe the change in emotion and you make this positive wish. And all these hairs, right? Now we're going to do the other right thought, which is thoughts of impermanence. So you're going to observe any reduction in delusion or greed, right? So now all these hairs are subject to this birth, aging, sickness, and death. So the hairs will grow long, they get dirty, oily, sweaty, and they turn white. Sometimes they crack, and eventually they fall off. Every day with lots of hair falling off. So you keep observing this birth and death of the hairs, and also the birth and death of your emotion. Why is it change? Any change in the states of mind? And we can reflect by asking ourselves, are these hairs truly self? If it is truly self, can we tell the hairs not to go through this birth and death? All right, and the next part of the body, we're going to visualize the nails, right? Fingernails and toenails. We're going to wish all of them well and happy. So again, observe the emotion. And all these nails go through this birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So they grow long, they collect dirt, they're dirty, discolor, sometimes due to malnutrition, and they go through wear and tear. scratches, cracks, and they even chip off. Every time you scratch on something hard, some of the nails fall off. And then we can ask ourselves, right, are these nails truly self? As you observe all these nails growing, falling, growing, falling, and you also observe your emotions, state of mind. Is it the same, or is it going through changes? And the next part of the body is the teeth. You're going to visualize the teeth and wish all the teeth well and happy. All the upper rows of teeth, may they be well and happy. And all the lower rows of teeth, may they be well and happy. All these teeth are subject to birth and death. So they change in shape and size. They change in color and they get dirty, turn yellow, turn brown, and they turn black. And all the decaying and all the cavities, they grow holes. And they get loose and shaky. And eventually they fall off. And we can observe this change of emotion, change in the state of mind, and observe all these changes to the teeth. And we can ask ourselves, are these teeth truly self? Can we tell the teeth not to go through this birth and death? And the next part of the body, we are going to think of the skin. We're going to wish all the skin well and happy. Skin that surround the body from head to toe. May they be well and happy. And all these skin are subject to birth and death. So they get oily, sweaty, dirty, and they wrinkle when it's older, crack when it's dry, sometimes it gets red due to skin irritation or rashes, other skin problems like pimples, boils, and so on. And the dead skin, they fall off every day. Lots of skin falling off. So skin growing, skin falling, lots of birth and death. And also observe our emotions, the state of mind, whether is there any change, any birth and death. If, let's say, you're feeling drowsy, you should observe more the impermanence. And we can ask ourselves, are this skin truly self? You tell the skin not to go through this birth and death. Okay, so now we are going to the next phase of meditation. So we are going to restrict the mind, restrict to a small area below the nose, above the upper lip. We are not going to visualize anything. We are just going to feel, using our sense of touch, the air that is contact with the skin when you breathe in and out. So no need to force your mind there, just a gentle attention. So we restrict to one small area. No need to feel your diaphragm, your lungs, your windpipe, right? Just below the nostril, above the upper lip. Contact of the air and the skin. And there's no need to control your in and out breathing. Let your in and out breath be your natural reflex action. So if you just observe your breathing, very bland, so we are going to observe these states of mind, the emotion. Okay, so when we breathe in and out, we are going to apply this loving kindness. When you inhale, wish the breath well, exhale, wish the breath happy. Very important. First step is to make friends with the breath. Do not attempt to fight or struggle with the breath. So loving kindness is interestingly part of right thought in the Eightfold Path. So it's applicable to actually all the meditation objects. Is to create an open and accepting mind. Try not to get distracted by all the other sense stimuli around the body. Just one small point, restrict the mind. Remember not to do it forcefully, so we use loving kindness. Inhale well, exhale happy. And then you can observe the emotion right before and after loving kindness, the level and absence of aversion. So this thought has to be generated for every in and out breath. Yeah, it's not just one time action, every moment action. Keep producing the right thought so that you can block off the hindrances. So interestingly, loving kindness is the antidote to one of the hindrances. And if you are generally at peace with your breath, then this is a state of mind without aversion. Not that you have overcome aversion, right? If not, you are already an anagami or arhat. It's just a temporary kind of absence of aversion. So at least you get to enjoy some peace. And the next thought, we are applying the right thought, is observing impermanence. So trying to overcome the mind of delusion and greed. So when you breathe in and out, there is definitely impermanence arising and passing away. If there's no arising and passing away of the breath, that means we are dead, we are no longer breathing. So do observe the arising and passing away of the breath. Every inhalation and exhalation, there's arising and passing away. So these movements of the wind is a natural phenomenon, yeah? But most of the time, we do not reflect on this impermanence, and we do not gain any wisdom because it's there all the time. Right? The truth is right beneath our nose. So this time, by deliberately thinking or generating thoughts of impermanence, we are actually as though building some form of wind capturing device, to generate this convert kinetic energy to something else, yeah, to store the energy. So it's storing this wisdom. So every inhalation, there's a birth and death of inhalation, and every exhalation, there's a birth and death of an exhalation. And so keep very mindful of impermanence, and this will cause more detachment, more unclinging. And then you can observe what is the emotion or the state of mind before and after this reflection. Yeah. In fact, the more you reflect, the more detached, and you should be able to feel more and more peaceful. So the peace is generated through lots and lots of thinking, lots and lots of right thinking. And the mind is relatively calm and peaceful, then we just be aware of a mind, at least temporarily, without delusion or reduced delusion and greed. And next thing we are going to do is extend the mind to the whole body. So from head to toe, we're going to feel the entire sort of the breath body. So you can feel the entire heartbeat, right? We call this the respiratory system or the circulation. So you can try to feel the expansion and contraction of the blood vessels, the heart beating, pumping through the arteries and veins throughout the whole body, and mindful of this impermanence. So every time the heart pumps or new expansion or contraction, then you need to remind yourself of impermanence. So the rate of expansion and contraction is way faster than your breathing. Yeah? So more right reflection. So actually learning to uh, generate peace in a larger area. Initially start off with one small point of the breath below the nose, and now we extend it out to a bigger area around the whole body, right? And now we are going to extend out to a larger area. So now we are going to wish all beings in front well and happy. When you sort of direct or expand your mind outward in front, we are also mindful of impermanence of the mind or the emotion. And then we come back to ourselves. And next, we are going to wish all beings behind well and happy. And then we return to ourselves. And the next, we are wishing all beings on the left well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And we wish all beings on the right well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And we can wish all beings above well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And we wish all beings below well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And this time round, again, we fill the entire body with loving kindness from head to toe. Applying the right thoughts of loving kindness and impermanence, reduce this greed and aversion. And once the body is already filled with loving kindness, and then now we're going to extend this loving kindness in all directions, above, below, and all across, starting in your own house, your own room. You wish all beings at home well and happy. And then we can extend this loving kindness to the surrounding neighborhood. May all beings in the neighborhood be well and happy. Then you can extend this loving kindness to the entire country, whichever country you're in. May all beings in your country be well and happy. And we are now going to extend this loving kindness to the entire world. May all beings in the whole world be well and happy. So while we wish for world peace, make sure the mind also has inner peace. Yeah, do not exert to the extent of causing tension or strain Make sure there's unclinging and detachment. And eventually, we are going to wish all beings in the entire universe, may they be well and happy. So now we're having a boundless mind, a limitless, immeasurable, loving kindness without any differentiation. We wish all beings well and happy. So that emotion or this state of mind would more or less be like a benchmark for the proper kind of loving kindness, yeah? So try to maintain this loving kindness as long as possible. So to maintain the length, we need to also observe uh, changes in the area. Within the extended area, are there any movements? So these are impermanence of the mind. So a person can only be truly alert and aware if they are awake. Yeah. So to be awake, you need to constantly generate right thoughts of impermanence. Now we are applying impermanence in an expanded mind. So this is one of the states in the mindfulness of mind states. Yeah. And then we can change the state of mind to a scattered mind. So now there's no need to deliberately extend the mind out. Right? There's no need to fixate in any area, no need to restrict. So when we talk about scattered mind, we let the mind be free, let the mind do whatever it wants, sort of lift the travel restrictions of the mind. And what we need to do is just be mindful of how this attention of yours sort of run around. Whenever it runs, you just be mindful of this impermanence, how it arises, how it passes away. When your attention arises, where does it come from? And when it passes away, where does it disappear to? So this is like the most natural state of mind without any form of exertion. So to truly see things as they really are and to observe the mind and this state. So there are two kinds of possibilities. Number one is whenever we have any sense contact, when our attention is sort of at any point, right? If it clings for no more than 2 seconds, then we'll be carried away with all the dramas and the thoughts and the worries or the fantasies. And this is called reaction with greed or hatred, craving and clinging. So this is the first possibility. Second possibility is when we observe the attention moving around, we observe impermanence. You have the right thought, have the intention to investigate, and we won't be carried away with the dramas and stories of the mind. So this will considered be producing a wakefulness. So some people say meditation can help you sleep. So if you want to sleep, you shouldn't be producing right thoughts. Just do nothing and just be idle, and then you fall asleep. But if you want to produce wakefulness, then you need to keep generating right thoughts. Yeah. And then we can try to combine the previous few lessons. So what are the four foundations of mindfulness related when we are doing all this? When the attention is moving around, it will definitely stick to a form. We call this, the body, something tangible. So the four elements, right? When your attention is moving somewhere, if we were to try to locate the attention, we'll be using the 4 elements as the indicator. Any hard and soft sensations, warm and cold, fast and slow movements, moist or dry. So these are the 4 elements, yeah? Earth, fire, wind, water. So these 4 elements called mindfulness of the body is related to mindfulness of the mind. Wherever our attention is at, the elements will manifest. And there's this thing called feelings. When we pay attention to something, these elements will generate feelings, or even without the elements, they also generate feelings, either pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral kind of feelings. And we have mindfulness of state of mind, which what we are doing now. Now this is scattered mind. And whatever we do, we need to observe the impermanence. All right, then we can change the mode to wishing again all beings well and happy. So this time is expanded mind. See whether you can observe changes in the elements or the state of mind. And we try to maintain this state of mind as long as possible. And before we conclude, another gentle reminder from the Karaniya Metta Sutta, the discourse on loving kindness, is that if a person were to maintain this boundless loving kindness, be it standing, sitting, walking, or lying down, and this is the highest conduct, right? So with that in mind, we can physically end the meditation, we can open our eyes, but mentally we maintain these right thoughts and right mindfulness. Because today we have more participants, so we have some time for Q&A, yeah? Any questions from anyone? Any problems or issues? Yes, Christopher, you have something? Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. Good evening, Bante.
Okay, good evening.
Thank you for this guiding in meditation workshop. I just want I'm referring to the suttas, the Nikayas.
Okay.
I read through some of the Nikayas. It talks about, in Buddhism, we focus a lot on meditation. So when I read on this Anapanasati Sutta,
yeah.
So Lord Buddha was addressing to the mendicants, which is the monks.
Mm.
So which means, I'm just concluding, I may be wrong, which means what the Lord Buddha was talking to, the audience were the monks, not the lay people.
Mm-hmm.
So it means that the Anapanasati Sutta was basically directed to the monks. not the lay people. Because when I read every time the early suttas, I'm talking about early suttas, it always starts with thus have I heard. Thus have I heard. So which means the sutta is about talking on the suttas rather than for you to sit down and meditate, which is also the same as when I read the Kalama suttas, which Lord Buddha talked to the Kalamas, which means the Lord Buddha didn't tell the Kalamas to say, everybody sit down, meditate, but he taught the Dhamma. So how do you correlate these two?
Okay, all right. Yeah, so again, different people have different disposition. Some people are maybe not ready to meditate. No, they are not interested in meditation. No, some people just need a bit of marketing, those publicity first. Yeah, some PR. So Dhamma talks are usually one good way of doing the PR to get people interested before they go deeper. So in the early days or even pre-Buddhist, the concept like meditation are meant for ascetics, these shramanas. So
shramanas.
The lay people don't really go into that detail. It is until this Anathapindika, the rich merchant, the sponsor of the Buddha, before he passed away, this Venerable Sariputta, out of compassion, gave him a sermon. And this Anathapindika, this rich merchant was thinking, hey, in my entire life, when I served the Buddha, I never heard such Dhamma before. So he made a request to Venerable Sariputta, which is the wisest disciple of the Buddha. Now, this Dhamma should be made known to lay people. No, shouldn't be just kept to ascetics and meditators. I mean, the shramanas. You should, lay people should know, if they have interest, you should expound to them these teachings as well. Right? So again, because this is a meditation class, and whoever is interested in meditation, are all welcome.
Okay. I see where is your perspective. But because you see, when Lord Buddha talked to the 5 wandering mendicants, the first 5 disciples.
Correct.
So for the first 5 disciples, when I read the suttas, they are experienced meditators. They have reached the jhanas, in up to maybe 4 jhanas already, but they just don't have the Dhamma to penetrate to them to become arahants. And this is how I look at it, because they are serious meditators, but because they lack the Dhamma, they cannot be arahants. Am I correct?
There are these the beginning or opening of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. They mentioned the 3 kinds of craving, the kama tanha, bhava, and vibhava tanha. So he was talking about let's say a very lay sensual life, this kama tanha, craving for sensuality. This is a kind of obstruction. It doesn't lead you to liberation. So this is the first kind of craving. Second kind of craving, bhava tanha, which is most of what the medicants of those times, those ascetics, they were clinging. They were clinging to states of samadhi, states of peace. So that is another form of craving. So I think you came in late. We did mention if a person do and sort of experience kind of peace in meditation, it's a common mistake for meditators to enjoy the peace or do not think. So in fact, the middle way the Buddha advocated was right thoughts and right effort. That means consistently you need to think of the right thoughts to sort of overcome this hurdle, obstacle, or this delusion, or this bhava tanha, craving for eternalism. So that's why we always reflect on things are impermanent, are changing. If not, people will think I will live forever, I want to be healthy forever. So these are is kind of conditioning.
Okay. I think roughly you got me there. Or else they'll behave like Brahmas to think that they are the only creators of the whole world, because the Brahma keeps saying, I'm the creator of the world, I'm the supreme one. It's because of the ignorance that Brahma has. That's why Lord Buddha says, no, you are not the creator. There is something that's beyond you, that's beyond your comprehension. I mean, this is how I correlate what you've just said.
If you were, speaking the particular deity,
Okay. Now I roughly got the idea of this whole thing. Can I have one more question?
Okay, all right.
Okay, thanks. You just now during the meditation, you talk about sensations. Sensations, all the sensations that come because eye sensation, ear sensation, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So this is a very hypothetical question. So it means, from what you say, the consciousness or the sensation arise from nama rupa. So in that sense, if there's no nama rupa, sensations will not arise. Because again, sensation arise from nama rupa. So if there is no sensation, is there tanha?
Yeah, that's why they are called the five aggregates of clinging. Yeah, there must be something to generate this one thing. Yeah, if there's nothing there, then what do you want?
Yeah, which means there's no tanha in that sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking from very theoretical perspective of the Dhamma. It says, okay, you keep talking about tanha because of the five sensation. So if I go hypothetically, it says, okay, there's no sensation, which means there's no world. The world created because we see, we hear, we touch, we feel. Yeah. So in fact, which means the world is inside us, not like what you say outside. Outside is no, it's here. If you close the eyes, is there a world? There's no world. It's because you saw it. That's why I say, oh yes, there is a world. But if you didn't see it, if you didn't see it, I say, oh, there's a world out there. Then my answer will be, no, I didn't see it. So there's no world. Is my understanding correct?
Partially depends on how you perceive it. Because even if we close our eyes, the mind door is still active, or the body sense door is still active. Yeah? All the other senses are active. So if I were to refer on this Chittanusati, the mindfulness of the state of mind, this nama rupa can be both restricted or expanded.
Oh.
Yeah, so it can be both internally and externally. So the mind doesn't have inside or outside. It's it's as though like everywhere. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Okay. There's one from Dr. Liao. Can one perform some simple yoga or qigong exercise before one meditates? Is it true it can help to enhance and improve the quality of meditation? Some monks teach the exercise before the commencement of meditation. Can Bhante comment on the practices and techniques? Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, I do recommend some stretching before the meditation. Of course, we call this health benefits are circular dharmas. Yeah, it's essential to be healthy. One of the factors for let's say a good sitting or good whatever, you need certain form of vital energy. So it might help supplement to a certain extent. But if let's say a person, like for example mentioned, if let's say a person do not reflect on impermanence, and they just maybe have certain view of let's say the breath meditation, they want to focus the breath, just for to craving, just for the sake of building up the vitality, they want to live longer, for example, then it doesn't serve the purpose of unclinging, right? So it doesn't go in line with the mindfulness of the breathing, right? So it works as a supplement, but it's not the actual middle path. Yeah. All right. So hopefully that answers the question. Any other questions? Okay, if there's no question, then we can end the session. It's 10:05. All right, maybe we can continue next week. Okay, dedication of merits. Akasata ca bhumata devanaga mahidika punyang tang anumoditva cirang rakantu loka sasanang etavata ca amhehi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe deva sabbe buddha sabbe sata anumodantu Sabba Sampatisiddhya. Transference of merits to departed. Idam me nyatinang hotu, sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idam me nyatinang hotu, sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idam me nyatinang hotu, sukhita hontu nyatayo. Aspiration, imina punya kamena, ame bala samagamo, satang samagamo hotu, Yavani Banapatiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Right, any announcements from Terence?
There's no announcement. Okay.
Announcement, okay, all right, then good night, right?
Thank you, Bante. Good night.
Okay, good
See you
night.
next week.
No problem.
Night.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Bante.
No problem.